It's Game On. Presented by Spectrum Sports.
And a very pleasant good evening from the Stan Sheriff Center in Manoa, where tonight it's the championship match of the Outrigger Invitational as number 1 Hawaii plays host to the 4th-ranked Anteaters of UC Irvine. And this is Game On, presented by Spectrum Sports for Rainbow Warrior Volleyball.
A little faster in area 4. The ball, it's kind of flattened out to the outside hitter. We talked all fall and the first part of the season that we were going to spend the majority of time of just playing the high balls, because when you get in the really competitive matches with guys that are really aggressive serving, the ball comes off the net and you are having to hit high balls. So we wanted to make sure that we spent a lot of time with that early, and now as to kind of getting into the season, we'll start to speed up a little bit. And and just overall, our serving variety and maturity, how effective can we be, and how efficient, how aggressive can we be, and really create point scoring chances.
Well, that was the coach talking about getting ready for this weekend's Outrigger Invitational and the time they had off from their last match until this past Thursday when they took on Queens. Hi, everybody. Scott Robbs, Lisa Strand-Ma, Ryan Clay Suji. Glad you could be here on this Saturday night. Pretty exciting. We get a matchup between 2 of the top 4 teams in the country. They're both in the Big West, but this does not count towards the conference standings.
That's right. It's considered a non-conference game. UC Irvine in the Big West Conference will be back later on this season, but for tonight, it's 2 teams going after the true title for the Outrigger Championship.
And really a gauge for Hawaii to see where they are at here in this part of the season. Of course, Hawaii, the number 1 ranked team in the country, going up against a formidable opponent at number 4 in Irvine. So Hawaii being tested tonight. Luckily, they're here at home. A lot of people looking forward to the BYU-Hawaii matchup in a few weeks. Also going to be here at the Stan Sheriff Center, but this could be a battle tonight.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Let's see how Hawaii got to the championship match. We mentioned on Thursday they opened up against Queens. Hawaii easily in 3. UH using mainly their reserves in that one. And then last night against number 14 Concordia Irvine, the starters were back in the lineup, and the result was the same, a 3-set win for Hawaii. So let's take a look at the stat leaders, and it's a little different because we mentioned reserves played on Thursday. These were the guys that led Hawaii 2 nights ago.
And really a career night for a lot of them, including Max Rosenfeld, who had a career high 9 kills, hit 818 from the middle. We could potentially see him as well. We've seen him come in times, especially on the road. He came in big off the bench when Hawaii had that long stretch, but he had a great night, as did James Anastasiadis, and of course, Chaz Galloway. You can see his numbers there, 7 kills, hitting 294.
And then last night against Concordia, some familiar names.
Well, back to the starting lineup, if you will. Rado Parapunas, Colton Cowell, and Patrick Gassman. These 3 All-Americans have contributed big time. Their numbers speak loud and clear.
Well, as we've seen the last couple of nights, Charlie Wade definitely has a lot of options when it comes to his lineup.
I think we know what everyone's capabilities are, and then you pick a lineup and you go with it. And having the full confidence that you can make really what amount to lateral substitutions. A guy that's just as good as the guy that you started, and if it's not going, either for a performance issue or a matchup issue or something, and you want to make a change, we know we're able to do that.
What are your guys' thoughts on the way Charlie's using his team in terms of different lineups for different matches, depending on maybe the strength of the opponent?
Well, I think a lot of it says that he is comfortable with his players. He recognizes what they're able to do. Oftentimes we see coaches that will always put the starters in and then slowly bring people in. I mean, on Thursday night against Queens, he started the entire bench, really, and really gave them an opportunity to play. I think it bodes well for this team in the future as well. It helps with overall team chemistry, because a lot of these guys, as we say, work hard in the practice gym, and being rewarded game time opportunities really says a lot about the coach's confidence in the players, and I think will only help this team in the overall and the end.
Well, that's the beauty of hosting a tournament as well. When you've got 3 back-to-back nights, you can kind of pick and choose, again, definitely who's across the net, who's the opponent, and how you want to insert your players and see how they perform for you. With 21 players listed on the roster for Hawaii, that is a lot of numbers to work into a game.
It's pretty amazing when you look at the sport of men's volleyball. You're only allocated 4.5 scholarships, yet Charlie has found the way now to really build depth with only 4.5 scholarships. That's hard to do.
Yeah, it is, and I think it says a lot too about their ability to find other ways to get money. You know, a lot of these players are getting scholarships in other means, not necessarily through athletic scholarships. And it's not, you know, this is nothing new to Hawaii. Programs throughout the country are having to find ways and resources to do this as well. I think going back to the lineup, though, we've seen a lot of changes over the past few years, especially when Hawaii came back from off the road. And, you know, tonight we'll see a different setter than we're used to seeing, with Brett Stewart really walking into the role, his first home start here tonight.
Yep, first home start tonight. That'll be his third start of the season. He had the opportunity on the mainland to start 2 matches, but last night he played as well. Excuse me, tonight would be his 4th. But basically, they're looking at him to take over the setting responsibilities tonight.
You know, Hawaii had a break, and they hadn't played at home for almost a month. How do you guys evaluate this team right now at 11-0?
Well, golly, they've only lost 2 sets this season so far, 11-0, but then we also have to take a look at the opponents and who they've really played. Tonight is going to be their toughest matchup. Irvine comes in at number 4 in the nation. They started at number 8 in the nation, but they've worked their way up. It may be one of the best tests of this team so far.
And I think a lot of it, you know, they grew a lot on the road. We saw Hawaii being down at times in those matches on the road when they played at Loyola and they played at Lewis, and they really had to battle. I think it really helped to mature this team and bring them along. We saw players again coming from off the bench, and so I think that this is a team that is slowly coming into their own now. And again, they still have that target on their back as the #1 ranked team in the country, and that comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of people always gunning for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited to see how Hawaii does tonight against a team that a lot of folks are familiar with, a conference foe, and the 4th ranked team in the country. It's #1 versus #4. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to focus on one of the freshmen on this team that's making a name for herself. But a reminder, if you want some schedule info, the hardest hits, anything you want to know about UH Sports, check out specsportshigh.com. Also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Back inside the stand, Sheriff Center championship match, Outrigger Invitational, #1 Hawaii, #4 UC Irvine. That guy, Chaz Galloway, he could be a factor sometime during this evening's matchup. Let's take a look at his bio. The freshman out of San Diego has started 3 matches, has appeared in 7 this year, 2.38 kills percent. Look at that hitting percentage, .452. He is an incredible specimen out on the floor, but it was more than just volleyball that brought him to UH.
When I came on my official visit, the culture and like the family environment of playing in front of thousands of fans that really support you and cared about you more than just on the court, that really gravitated me towards Hawaii. It was a huge adjustment. I came in and I was like, wow, I thought I knew how to play volleyball before this, but then I got out there with guys that are 4 or 5 years older than me, and I'm like, okay, I got to step my game up. I got to work hard to, you know, be on the court. I had to get bigger and stronger, so I wasn't hitting the ball at the same pace of these other guys. Even though I could jump, I had to get a lot stronger, and it was a mental part of it too that I had to get a lot better. I had to learn shots. I mean, I can't just go down and bounce because Pat will just block it, so I had to learn a lot up mentally.
He's one of the guys that you know, responded well when called upon him. You know, Colton was out, so we kind of went into that road trip with a man down, and you know, he was able to come in and step up, played at a really high level. You know, he's really good in the system. He fast jump, fast arm. You know, he jump touched 11-9, and you know, has a really, really bright future. Going to have a great career for us.
Hashtag what?
All right, time now for hashtag what? Brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank. Lisa, as you know the rules, ladies go first. Give us your hashtag on Chaz.
Well, I'm going to say Attaway Galloway, because this young man is pretty spectacular as a freshman coming in. I'll tell you what, he feels that his role on this team right now is to pass and to hit out of the backcourt. But what we just heard him talk about was working harder and getting stronger and contributing to the team as a whole. So you got to really like this young man, because he knows that he's going to get stronger as the season goes on. But watching him, he is incredibly dynamic and very explosive, fun to watch.
Yeah, I went with the hashtag really motivated and inspired by what head coach Charlie Wade said, and it went FJFA, standing for fast jump, fast arm. He, you know, of course, is not the biggest player out there, but he's had to make it up with speed and with his athletic ability to jump. And he's really proven to be a player that is not afraid to come into some clutch situations. He came off the bench when Hawaii was on the road and losing and close to losing a match, came in and really turned things around. And I think it says a lot about him not really having those freshman jitters out there. He was named the Big West Freshman of the Week for his contributions and the numbers that he's putting up. I think he has a bright future, almost as bright as the shoes that he's wearing.
Yeah, I was going to say, he has certain abilities that you really can't learn. I mean, he has just some God-given talent, particularly the jump. Their shoes, though, those didn't come with the DNA. But anyway, but he talked about the fact that, when he was younger, when he was playing, those athletic traits he has, he could take over with. But now when you get to this level, you got to really learn how to become a well-rounded volleyball player, don't you?
Yeah, and he talked about that, and he had a really great compliment by Rado Parapunov, who said, this young man is amazing. He's come in already so advanced. I can't wait to see 4 years here at the university, what he looks like then, because he's pretty spectacular now.
And I think what impressed me the most is his ability to be in serve receive and take on the pressure of being a rotation passer and being able to really help stabilize the passing pattern. Teams will go after him when he is in the lineup, but I think he's done a great job so far of holding his own.
Another thing I liked was the fact that he mentioned right away, it wasn't just volleyball that drew him to Hawaii. It was the culture, the family, the ohana, things like that. Those were important to him as well in deciding what school he wanted to attend.
Well, it's like when you get the opportunity to come on a recruiting trip to Hawaii. When you come into the Stan Sheriff Center, it is an amazing venue. And as a young athlete coming in and watching this and the cheering in the crowd and just the energy alone, how could you not want to come to University of Hawaii and play volleyball?
He almost kind of reminds me of a young Josh Walker, kind of similar stature and build in terms of their athletic ability to jump. And we all know the type of career that Josh Walker has, who's now the assistant coach. But, we could see a bright future with this young man as well.
Yeah, if he's another Josh Walker, we'll take that for sure. Alrighty, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll break down the matchup. It's number 1 Hawaii versus number 4 UC Irvine. Big matchup in Manoa, the championship of the Outrigger Invitational. Two Big West teams colliding in a non-conference matchup. Number 1 Hawaii and number 4 UC Irvine. Talking about the rankings, let's take a look at the American Volleyball Coaches Association Top 15. And there you see, look at the top 5. 4 of the top 5 teams are members of the Big West Conference. The only non-one is BYU, who Brian mentioned will be in Honolulu next month. And then you've got UCLA in 7th. Lewis at 6th. Hawaii already beat them. And Purdue, Fort Wayne, rounding out the top 10. The last of the top 15 poll, George Mason, Princeton, Stanford, Concordia, Irvine, who Hawaii beat last night, and Ohio State. All right, let's take a look now at the Anteaters stat leaders, and they've got some good ones.
Yeah, you look at Joe Schneidmiller. He really is going to be a physical presence. You see his numbers there hitting at 343. And, of course, Scott Static as well, player who has really given Hawaii problems in the past, has really helped to risen his game here late in his campaign and his career.
Let's take a look at the team stat comparisons between these two programs. Irvine at 7-3, Hawaii at 11-0, and Hawaii continues to be at a torrid pace offensively.
Well, immediately what jumps out is Hawaii's kill percentage at 401. That's pretty amazing, but don't let Irvine fool you. Their blocking has been pretty phenomenal all season long. They're very close in blocking, a big blocking team.
And with the advantage in service aces as well. Alrighty, time now to weigh in. It is brought to you by Bank of Hawaii. And we kind of touched on this a bit earlier. These two teams will face each other again later on in the season in matches that count in the conference. But it's an early season matchup, two top 4 teams. Do you think maybe they'll open up their offenses a little bit more? Do you think they still want to hide things from each other since these matches don't count, at least in conference?
I don't think so. I think both teams want to win. Hawaii recognizes the significance of having to play well and play well at home, being the number 1 ranked team in the country. Charlie Wade's not someone that's going to hold anything close to his chest. I will say, though, when these two teams meet again a few months from now in Hawaii Senior Night, this could be a much different team in terms of the offense that they run. We've already seen Hawaii evolve. They're running faster to the pin since the season started. So while they may show all their cards tonight, it could still be different teams a few months from now.
And Coach Niffen shared with me earlier tonight that he said, we are good enough to be dangerous, but we're still young and we're still early in the season right now. So he knows that his team can be good enough, but he also knows they will meet up again later, and they're also hosting the Big West Championships this year.
You know, you mentioned, Ryan, that Hawaii's going to have a new starting center at home at least tonight. Hey, Brent Sheward, talk about what that means for him and what that means for the offense.
Well, I think the one thing reason why he's in there is he runs a little faster tempo attack. He is smaller at the net. He doesn't have the physicality of Tella in terms of his blocking ability, but he plays great defense. He was a backup libero last year to Gage Worsley and played on the B side, really challenging them, but he runs faster. He connects well with the middles. And so I think it's just a different look, and it's something, again, that this team is familiar with. And head coach Charlie Wade will not be afraid also to put Tella back in there if need be.
Yeah, he's got great options between Jakob Tella, who has been the starting setter up until last night, and then Shui, who is going to be starting tonight. I think they both have great upside. Tella being a lefty, he can turn and swing on too, but both of them contribute immensely to the team.
We haven't really seen this Hawaii team get tested this year. They haven't played a whole lot of ranked teams. They went on the road, they beat Lewis, and they beat Loyola Chicago, both those teams nationally ranked. They each took a set from Hawaii, the only sets UH lost. Would it be a good thing to see Hawaii push tonight, do you think?
Oh, they need to be pushed. I mean, this team, they're so deep and they are so good, but the only way they're going to continue on and dominate is to be challenged.
Yeah, and I think you cannot, I mean, we look at UC Irvine, and they have a history of just playing well during competitive matches, regardless of what talent they have. And again, the names that we had mentioned earlier, Schneidmiller, Static, these are players who have really given Hawaii fits in the past, and it could be, again, a battle for Hawaii tonight.
What's the key for Hawaii tonight if they're going to win? Is it their serving game? I mean, they've been very good behind the service line.
Well, they struggled a little bit the last couple nights behind the service line. They didn't get as many aces. They had more errors. But for Hawaii, I think it's just consistency. Keep doing what they're doing. Don't get rattled. Play consistent volleyball.
Well, I think for Hawaii, one of the things that I would like to see is this, as we talked about the evolution of this offense, is trying to be faster to the pin. So finding ways to be a little bit more dynamic with the offense and finding different opportunities to run it faster to the pin, including balls to Radapar Punaf, who we all know can go over everyone, and so can Colton Cowell. But if Hawaii can sort of add a little tempo to this offense, run more bigs, run more combination plays, I think that will only make their offense tougher to beat.
A true test tonight for the Warriors. How will they grade out? That's what we're going to find out. The three of us will be back at intermission, but come up next, the serve to start set one.
And with that, we welcome you inside the Stan Sheriff Center. Kanoa Leahy sitting next to Lisa Strand Ma'alisa. Take us through the Kaiser Permanente keys to the match.
Well, for the Anteaters, they are going to need to slow down this Warrior offense. Hawaii has been playing spectacular, hitting outrageous numbers. And for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, they've got to clean it up behind the line. They've struggled a little bit behind the service line, and I know Coach is wanting to see it a little bit smoother.
How about a .401 hitting percentage for Hawaii as a team? And a lot of that is because of that guy right there. Rado Parapunov gets things started with a pounding of that first set. 4.32 kills per set, 389 percentage for Rado. The Hawaiian Financial FCU starting lineup scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You will also notice the starting setter is Brett Sheward, 6'2" redshirt freshman from Newport Beach, California, for Hawaii, who has recently sort of adopted the starting setting position from Jakob Tella, although we may see Tella in some form at some stage here in this match. Scott Static getting the put down for UC Irvine, their 7-foot middle, and so it's 1-1 here in the early going. Outside, Colton Cowell gets blocked back. Scott Static, he provides some static in the middle, no doubt about it. Already mentioned 7-foot senior from Watertown, Wisconsin. He is the nation's leader in blocks per set. Had a nation's best so far this season, 11 rejections against USC earlier in the year.
Well, he's a big boy, and it's tough to get around him.
The serve goes into the net by Joel Schneidmiller. He's the top hitter for Irvine. And we're running it deuces here early on in set number 1. Hawaii coming in 11-0, the number 1 ranked team in the country. That's where they started in the preseason ABCA poll. That's where they currently stand. UC Irvine coming in at number 4. Cowell with the laser beam serve. The high ball goes to Alexander Sakanda, who's blocked back, and then the hit by the island product, JB Cam, out of Punahou, goes into the twine, but Guilherme Voss making his presence felt above the tape.
And Voss, just a freshman, doing a spectacular job at 6'7", doing a nice job. Again, look to him to get more involved in the offense tonight as well.
So 3 serving 2. And here it comes from Colton Cowell, sends that one long, and so we are trudging along here in the early stage of the first frame.
What you're going to see is both teams going for tougher serves so that they can get the opposing team out of system.
So here is Static. Had an 11-kill, 10-block match in the opener of this Outrigger Invitational against Concordia of Irvine, a program that's pretty much just right across the street from where UC Irvine is situated. And the out serve gives the point back to Hawaii. And there's a look at David Niffen in his 8th season as head coach for Irvine. This is a non-conference match, even though these are 2 Big West Conference teams. They'll play for real in conference play later on in the season back here in Honolulu. Philip Humler gets that one down off of the set by Brett Sheward. Now, we talk about the setter competition, Lisa, and Brett Sheward, a little bit of a different style from Jakob Tella, not quite as offensive-minded, a little bit smaller, but where do you see Sheward as far as his effectiveness?
Well, it looks to me that he seems to run the middle bit and distribute the ball more evenly, if you will. He's not just independent, setting one player at all times. He distributes the ball well. Comes up with the save there defensively. High ball set goes to Sakanda, and he gets it down. You will notice Alexander Sakanda, 6'4" redshirt sophomore from Ottawa, Canada. He has incredible bounce off of the Terraflex. And one of the things he does great is he's a lefty. He sees the court well. They keep him off of the net a little. He hits out of the back court often for UC Irvine. Between Sakanda, who will serve, Colton Cowell, as well as Chaz Galloway, who we may see at some point for Hawaii. And we got some high hoppers out here on the floor. Rado Patapunov at 6'9", doesn't have to jump that high off the ground to still get that high contact point, and he just drills it. Well, he didn't get the best offensive player in the nation last year for no reason. I'll tell you what, he, being left-handed, very physical. Some great numbers for Rado from the service line, always formidable. Comes up with the save there for Hawaii. Bump set goes to Humler from off the net, and he sends it long. No touch up front, so a point for Irvine. Just got a little bit under that ball, set a little bit high, but give credit to Rado. He tough serve from the back line and then came in and played defense. You got to remember, he's a big guy playing some serious defense. Yeah, that is sort of another layer to his game that he has formed and really been able to grow over the course of his career. I mean, he's not going to wear the libero jersey anytime soon, but he can come up with some defensive saves, that's for sure. And Colton Cowell from the back row, as if he rappelled down from the rafters, just putting a hurting on it. And the set from Sheward, the redshirt freshman, doing a spectacular job. The tempo of that set was critical. It came so quickly out of the backcourt. So Humler now to serve, the 6'7" sophomore from Česká Budějovice, Czech Republic. The aces on the season make it 8. And this seems to be Hawaii's best rotation with Humler serving. They seem to pick up a lot of points when he's back here, putting a lot of pressure on the opposition. Hawaii averaging 2 aces per set as a team. One of the nation's best in that department. Giveth, taketh away. Philip Humler from the service line with the ace, and then the out serve into the net. So Aiden Wolf Nielsen now, 6'8" sophomore from right there in Irvine, California, transferred over from Orange Coast College. He will now serve. Down the line it goes. Humler puts it on the money. Outside set, and it's Cowell against a double block that hadn't quite connected. He's able to take advantage. Colton Cowell showing no signs of injury. Remember the last time we saw him here in this gym, he went down with a little bit of a strain.
sat out a couple of games on the road trip, but he looks like he's right back where he left off.
2 kills for him on 3 swings. Pat Gassman with the serve. High ball, cross-court bump set goes from the libero A.J. Faley to Schneidmiller. He's dug up, and then Cowell up the elevator. Little pinball action on the Irvine side. They return it. Sheward back to Colton. Cross-court and in.
Irvine scrambling on defense, just gets that ball over, and Shuey does a great job setting up a one-on-one isolation set there for Colton Cowell.
That's a 4-1 run now for the Warriors as they create a 4-point separation. And it is Pat Gassman. Has already set his personal season high in aces. 10 coming in to this match. Schneidmiller pounds it off the high hand. Saved along the backside by Gassman. And then the quick middle to Guilherme Voss. And a timeout taken by the Anteaters. Hawaii rolling.
Rainbow Warrior Volleyball on Spectrum Sports is sponsored by Bank of Hawaii and Hawaii Honda Dealers.
A 5-1 run for the Warriors, and they're up 11-6 here as you take a look at the stone-cold focus of Charlie Wade in his 11th season. Great serve by Gassman, forces the overpass. The D set goes to Rado, off the fingertips of the block, saved there by Sakanda. He'll get the set from behind the line, and he puts it down right past the diving attempt of Rado Parapunov. Little lefty on lefty crime there. We got some scores to update you with from Les Murakami Stadium earlier this afternoon. The Rainbow Warriors off to a 2-0 start as they pull off the 2-game series sweep against Hawaii Hilo. The Rainbow Wahine basketball team continues to streak 63-51. They sweep their road swing. Not so for the Rainbow Warriors as the men's basketball team falls in overtime to Cal Poly 79-75.
Colton Cowell smiling there a little bit, using the block. He's listed at 6'1", up against Scott Static at 7 feet.
And there is Static in the middle, but this time the block was up from the Hawaii side as Voss and Parapunov were next to each other. Scott Static, who has started to become more offensive-minded here the last couple of seasons. He's averaging just under 2 kills per set, hitting .354, but one thing this Hawaii team can do, they may not have a 7-footer on the roster, but what they can do is they can put up the wall.
Definitely can, and have all season long. That's why, actually, believe it or not, in the Big West, Hawaii is last in digs. Yeah. They're last in digs because their block is so good.
That's right. In fact, UC Irvine entered the week second in the NCAA in blocks as a team, behind Hawaii, #1 in the country. There is a service ace by Joel Schneidmiller, the 6'6" junior from Saratoga, California, with his 14th ace of the season.
And he's been leading his team in aces for the last couple of seasons. He can get very dangerous behind the service line.
Blast that one long, though. And it is a point for Hawaii. Rado Parapunov comes running over to get a quick high five from the floor wipers right in front of us.
He's trying to include everybody in this match. Earlier, he was waving on with the crowd as well.
I mean, just from the anthem to the introductions to the atmosphere during play. I mean, it's an event here in the Stan Sheriff Center when this team is on the Terraflex. The swing by J.B. Cam, nothing doing, as Parapunov got the gist of that denial, and Hawaii up a half dozen, first to 15, leading us to the media timeout. Welcome back. Let's check out the Jack Fact. Seeing time on the Terraflex. Through the first 2 matches of the Outrigger Invitational, Hawaii has started 13 different players, and 20 players have seen playing time. Now, the opening night, Hawaii took on Queens, coming from Charlotte, North Carolina. And Charlie Wade was content in just sort of letting the reserve, quote-unquote, players take the lead in that one. Guys like Chaz Galloway and Cole Hoagland,
Max
Devin Johnson.
Rosenfield.
Yeah, I mean, there were several who put up career highs that night as Hawaii went on to sweep. Last night against Concordia Irvine, 14th ranked team in the country. A little bit more of the traditional starting lineup that we've seen for Hawaii this season, and they did the job as well in a 3-set sweep.
That just goes to show you how much confidence he has in his squad.
Parapunov tried to tool the block, but he gets roofed. That one lands inside that line. And so give J.B. Cam, 6'5" sophomore out of Punahou, one of 2 Punahou alums on this Irvine roster, credit there.
Quite the spectacular basketball player is where he started at Cal Lutheran and then went through Orange Coast and ended up at Irvine playing volleyball.
And that serve from Static hits his teammate, Aiden Wolf Nielsen.
Unintentional, of course, but that is exactly why you'll see the players in the front court with their hands behind their head.
That's right.
It happens.
Incoming. Down in front.
Down in front is right. Those eyes back there just don't happen to work.
Here's James Anastasiadis, had 5 kills, hit 500, an ace, a block solo in that Outrigger Invitational opening match against Queens. High ball goes to Sakanda. We talked about his hops. Head coach David Niffen describes his jumping ability as just different, is the word that he used. Obviously, he has the cannon and that southpaw swing to back it up as well.
He redshirted in 2018, but last year he was a Big West all-freshman team, so he's been on the court often all last year.
A 2-time Big West Conference Freshman of the Week last season. Great job by Shuey just to keep it alive, but the pass goes long from Gage Worsley.
Talk about pressure from the service line. That's an amazing serve, really getting Hawaii into trouble. Shuey just pancaking that ball up, quick to the ball. Call it a rescue, but bumping out an unforced error.
So a little burst here by Irvine to trim the deficit down to 3. A good pass there by Colton Cowell. Backside set. It's Rado! Brings the thunder!
Now that is a solid, sharp cross-court, effective hit. About as effective as it gets.
I mean, he's been doing that probably almost all his life, but certainly since he first stepped foot on this Manoa campus. Into the net it goes. That's one area Charlie Wade says things have been wavering just a bit as of late for Parapunov is from the service line.
Well, sometimes you have all that energy after a big hit like that. It's just a matter of slowing things down just a little bit.
Here is J.B. Cam with the jump serve. Good pass again by Cowell. Middle set goes to Gassman. And another reason why Charlie Wade has exhibited confidence in Brett Sheward is his ability to set the middle from a lot of different angles.
Absolutely, and Colton Cowell just putting that first contact right in Shuey's hands. I mean, just perfect. And Patrick Gassman at 6'10", what a great target.
Yeah, not too bad.
I mean, feed me.
Just put it up there. Roll serve there by Humler. The block was up. And then the touch off the block by Sakanda, but they're going to say that it was a back row violation, that he stepped on the line or crossed the line in his approach. And so that's a point for Hawaii, and it's another timeout coming from UC Irvine. So just as the Anteaters were creeping within arm's length and reach, Hawaii able to put up several consecutive.
Hawaii definitely making the separation much greater. There's a 5-point separation in rally scoring, makes it very difficult. But Hawaii doing a lot of things very well right now. Hitting at 4-12 as a team, very efficient. You're seeing a lot of good set distribution, but what I really like is the passing. They are passing the ball very well.
Visit the new Spectrum store at Pearl Highlands Center above Sam's Club. Learn about Spectrum Mobile and get the best devices, latest technology, and coolest accessories. The store is open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8, and Sundays, 10 to 6. This is the final night of the Outrigger Invitational. Hawaii seeking its 10th tournament title and 4th in the last 5 years, while on the other side, UC Irvine playing in the Invitational for just the 2nd time. The last time they played in 2015, they won the thing.
They did. They won it, and it was a completely different squad, of course. And Irvine, no stranger to winning. They have 4 national championships underneath their belts. David Niffen was on one of those. But his assistant coach, Mark Presho, was a coach on all of those teams. And Mark Presho is an alumni of the University of Hawaii.
That's right, in his 15th season on the staff. Let's send it over to Ryan Kalesuji.
Hey, thanks, Kunal. Well, here on the UC Irvine sideline, coaching staff just not happy with the execution of the team and just their overall demeanor. They're saying we have got to come out much more aggressive. We cannot expect to beat a team like Hawaii with the shots they're hitting. They want their players to be more aggressive offensively as well as defensively, be set in their feet, able to make better defensive moves. Back over to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. David Niffen loves the trip out to Hawaii. Make sure he makes a stop at Leonard's for some malasadas and some goodies every time he's out here. Not sure if he is locked into the Punahou Carnival malasadas that are also available here this weekend.
Well, I'm sure with his Punahou grads, Davis Lau and JB Cam, that I'm sure he's very well aware of that, and that hopefully they've done the honor of bringing him some Punahou malasadas.
Last kill by Aiden Wolf-Nielsen, and now into the match to serve Akil Tongatur, 6'2" freshman from Pacific Palisades, California. As a 2018 CIF Los Angeles City Player of the Year honoree, and he serves it into the twine. That's something that David Niffen has said. They lost a couple of key pieces from last year, including veteran setter Dante Chakravorty, opposite hitter Carl Offenbach, among others. But he says, you know what? We are going to not only have to play really well to win important high-level matches, we're probably going to need a little help from the other team, maybe not playing completely up to snuff. Yet Irvine's still the number 4 team in the country. Little pitter-patter at the net. Now a joust there. The swing by Schneidmiller. Little ad-lib.
And that's his first kill of the evening by Schneidmiller, the 6'6" outside hitter, getting a one-on-one opportunity and taking full advantage of it, getting his team into the 100% kill percentage right now. They've been hitting 0 his last few points.
Hawaii hitting .389 on its side, and another service error. That's already number 6 for Irvine in this opening set. So 21 serving 16 coming up, and it will be Brett Sheward back behind the line for Hawaii. Sheward, who started versus Lincoln Memorial and King on the road. That was after helping Hawaii rally against Lewis and Loyola and earning greater trust from head coach Charlie Wade and the rest of the staff, as another put down is credited to Schneidmiller.
Schneidmiller, that's a mouthful. Plays a lot of USA volleyball as well.
With the serve, middle set, and that's Voss, the 6'7" freshman from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Doing a great job hitting a set that's a little bit further away from the setter. They call that a 3 set, but the timing on that was pretty spectacular. You can see how quick it gets, and he's setting him exactly to his right hitting arm.
So 2 swings, 2 kills for Voss. The jump serve by Cowell. And the middle set goes to Static, and he gets it down.
And Scott Static with his second kill on the evening, turning it, moving it away from the block.
Scott Static, we talk about his blocking numbers. Comes into this match averaging over 2 blocks per set. That is just unheard of. Had 5 blocks last night against Queens. And that's the fewest blocks he's had in a match this season. He had 6 or more every match prior to last night, as Potapunov gets roofed, and this time it's the other middle. Aiden Wolf-Nielsen turning it back, and Irvine not ready to throw in the towel yet here in set 1.
It's amazing how JB Cam posts that block, but Rado going for that sharp angle again and getting shut down.
So cue the crowd here. Johnny Bowles, former #1 recruit in the country, out of the prep ranks with the serve, and we'll have a rotational violation against Hawaii.
A little bit of confusion and concern. The call being called, I believe, on Voss.
And so Charlie Wade coming over to give a little direction to his freshman middle, Guilherme Voss. And about as close as Irvine has been in some time. 20 serving 22, but the serve goes long by Bowles.
And Bowles just letting Hawaii off of the pressure. You know, they got a great opportunity there. They scored 2 in a row to close that gap.
And so Voss, who may have been standing out of bounds as part of the violation in that previous serve, he is now back to serve. Backside set, it goes to Sakanda off the block, but we got all kinds of entanglements on the Hawaii side. It looks as though it is Philip Humler who got tied up. And so a violation there, point Irvine. They're within 2 once again.
You know, Hawaii has stayed out of the net so well. It is so rare to see them in the net, yet alone that much into the net.
And here is Sakanda, 5 kills. That leads Irvine. He's also the team leader in aces this season. The pass by Cowell, it's a good one. Shui, backside, Parapunov, the set not there. It's a point for Irvine. And they're within 1. That forces a Hawaii timeout. Charlie Wade not pleased in the least in the way that Hawaii has allowed the Anteaters to get right back in the mix with a 5-1 Irvine run.
Well, I think it's a great timeout. You got to slow things down, talk to your team, settle them down a little bit. They've made a couple of unforced errors that have, you know, into the net, a rotation violation. They've allowed Irvine to sneak back into this match. This set, I should say.
You were talking about Irvine flatlining it offensively for a good portion of this first frame. They're at now 273, and a lot of that is Alexander Sakanda. The sophomore has come to play once again, 5 kills on 8 swings, hitting 500, and also has a service ace. League playoffs for high school boys basketball are underway. Monday, tune in to Spectrum OC16 for the OIA boys basketball semifinals, or Spectrum XCast for the ILH Division I single elimination game. That's on OC16. We have the girls basketball state championships going down tonight. Iolani in the Division I contest taking on Konowaina. But we got a good one here, as it turns out, in set 1 at the Stan Sheriff Center, Lisa. 23-22, Hawaii trying to hang on in the first.
Well, this is going to be a real test of character here. This is, I think, exactly what this Hawaii team needs. They need to be pushed, and they're being pushed by Irvine. Irvine's big key right now is just to keep the ball in play.
Hawaii hitting .350. Colton Cowell leading the way with 4 kills, hitting .429. A couple of what you would characterize as unforced errors on the Hawaii side of the net, allowing Irvine to threaten to steal this first frame.
Let's see if the redshirt sophomore Sakanda can keep this ball in play.
Here it comes. Pass by Humler, pops straight up, so Schuart has to track it down. Sets up Parapunov, and he tools the block. And Hawaii gets to 24. It'll be a Aloha ball here in the first.
Well, you gotta love that Schuart went right back to Rado Parapunov on that play, and it was a beautiful set.
And so now a couple of subs for Hawaii as Jakob Tella, the 6'6" sophomore from Tonsberg, Norway, comes in to serve, and also into the match, Dimitrios Mouklias, 6'6" freshman from Greece. .24 serving 22. Here it comes from Tella. Set goes outside. The block is up by Mouklias. And how about that for instant impact? Dimitrios Mouklias checks into the match and then comes up with the final point in set number 1. As he says, Apole to JB Cam. They'll swap ends. Hawaii strikes first, 25-22. Well, after leading by as many as 6, 2 different times in that opening frame, Hawaii hangs on against Irvine in set 1 here, the final match of the Outrigger Invitational. Welcome back to the Stan Sheriff Center. Next to Lisa Strand-Ma, I'm Kanoa Leahy, and that was a little more interesting than what it first looked like it would be. Obviously, Irvine cutting it down to a 1-point deficit, 23-22.
A little scary, if you will. Hawaii was totally in control of that match and let things get away slowly. But earlier tonight when we talked to Coach Niffen, he said, we're good enough to be dangerous, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, one of the guys who was most dangerous for Irvine, Alexander Sakanda, we knew about his athletic ability, we knew about that arm, and he showed both of them in droves in that first frame. 5 kills, hit 500.
He sure did. The 6'4" opposite, he's a lefty. You see it in the highlight reel, but he hits a very high, heavy ball, not only from the front court, the back court, and also he had some unbelievable serves that really put Hawaii in some trouble.
Meanwhile, Colton Cowell, 4 kills on 7 swings, hit 429 in that first set. I mean, his story has been well documented at this point, but the Maui boy just under 4 kills per set and hitting .408 on the year coming into tonight's match.
You gotta love those numbers. He's worked hard, very hard to get here and to get those types of numbers.
He said, hey, I hope that this is a match that mirrors what I was able to do against UC Irvine when these two teams met in California, part of a 4-match swing through California in the fall for Hawaii. Colton Cowell was 10 for 10, had 10 kills on 10 swings. He's like, too bad those stats don't count for this season's overall stats. He's like, if I can do anything close to that, that would be pretty cool.
Well, how can you not blame him? 10 for 10, that's, yeah, he wants to add them on. You know? Also, he's kind of picking up where he left off last year. He knows what this team is capable of, and he is all in going for big W's.
Schneidner getting the first point here for Irvine in set number 2, and then Cowell is blocked back. Static next to Sakanda, and Colton Cowell turned back to his teammates like, who had my back on that one?
Well, it wasn't actually a smart play. He's trying to push it in so that UH gets an easy ball back, but nobody had his back on that. That's why he made that expression.
The nation's leader in blocks puts another one up, gets a good chunk of that swing by Patapunov as well. Here's Cowell, blocked and roofed. I mean, you're talking about Static and Sakanda eclipsing the sun there on Colton Cowell.
They were up and over and very forceful. The harder you hit it, the harder it comes back, and they shut him down. He tried to swing down the line, down the smaller blocker's hands, stay away from Scott's Static at 7 feet.
Here's Patrick Warrenkamp, redshirt freshman setter, serves it into the net. That is the 8th service error for Irvine. They had 7 in that first set, and that obviously hurt them, particularly the timing of some of those service errors.
Definitely, and Patrick Warrenkamp is an interesting story. The 6th freshman setter. He was a middle blocker originally, but they got into a little bit of trouble looking for setters, and they've trained him.
Yeah, pretty amazing. That's not a transition you often see. Good up there by Patapunov, chased down on the second touch by Schuwert, and then Cowell from the back row hits it into the twine. So a shaky start here in set 2 for Hawaii.
And Colton is asking for a challenge. I'm not sure what he's asking or why he's asking for the challenge, but due to this being a televised match, he can ask for a challenge.
And it looks like Charlie Wade will oblige. He grabs the ping pong paddle, which represents the official challenge instrument. And so we will have a challenge. Ernie Ho will take a look at the replay. We're awaiting the exact word as to what part of that play is in fact being challenged. By the way, Dixon Chun, the R1, the top of the ladder, Ryan Scudder, Kevin Chun, the 2 line judges.
It's an interesting call. I'm not sure if it was that one of the players on Irvine actually hit the net, had a net violation before Colton Cowell hit it in the net, or maybe came under.
Yeah, that is what we are told is being challenged, a net violation against Irvine. And so they can play this thing through to see if there is a net violation at some point here. We got the net cam working, so usually the net violations come through pretty well, and I'm not sure if you're going to get anything on that particular replay. But an example of the communication between the players on the floor and the bench, right, and the coaching staff. That time it was Colton Cowell.
Absolutely, and you know, you got to love that Charlie Wade supports his players. And goes for the challenge, which they get 3 of per match. But it looks like it didn't go their way that time.
They uphold the call as a non-net violation. So it is 4 serving 1 here. Schneidmiller with the serve for Irvine. Worsley takes on the setting responsibilities, and he sets up Parapunov very nicely. Gage Worsley looking a little bit like his older bro Joe that time in setting up the right nectar for Rado Parapunov.
Must be in the genes. I'll tell you, Rado Parapunov going away from his sharp angle and going down the line off of JB Cam's outer hands on that last hit.
So that's kill number 5 for Rado. Voss narrowly gets that one above the tape. Sakanda, the set was a little behind him there. Good scramble on the Hawaii side of the net to forge a return. Irvine on the attack. They go middle. It's static. Humler got a good chunk on the block. Shuey goes middle to Gassman, who lays the smackdown.
Quick, explosive, and good for a point. Patrick Gassman working really hard, getting up on the block, turning around, passing that ball, and then driving. I mean, why have 5 other players, really?
Here's Static in the middle. Gassman blocking it back. Setup goes to Cam on the outside. Fingertips of the block got a piece. So Shuey highballs it to Humler. Tried to push it through the block. Diving save Vorenkamp. Here's Cam on the high set. Block. Static punches it over. So Hawaii now with it. Gassman hammers it home again.
Patrick Gassman is tenacious in the middle right now, and their connection is pretty spectacular.
A great save, as you saw earlier in the sequence, by Vorenkamp to keep it going. We're tied at 4. Sakanda unties it. 6 kills now for Alexander Sakanda.
Sakanda doing it very aggressive from that right front, the lefty, hard to read, playing explosive volleyball.
So Static now with the serve, 5 serving 4. Sheward goes back row, the Cowell flying in. That's kill number 5 for Colton.
And here the set distribution is really confusing Irvine. Shuey's going everywhere. He's moving the ball around so quickly that it's really making it difficult for Irvine's blockers.
So we're knotted at 5. Parapunov with a blazing serve there. It'll be Schneidmiller from the back row, but he's able to go off the block and out. So this is an Irvine team that, you know, David Niffen is saying we're pretty inexperienced in some spots and we need to play really well and hope for some good fortune. Maybe the other team not playing so well when we're going up against high-ranked competition. And yet, they're 7-3. They're 4th in the country. Last week, they swept all the Big West Conference awards. Schneidmiller got Player of the Week. Static got Defensive Player of the Week. Vorenkamp got Freshman of the Week. And so this is an Irvine team that, as you sort of alluded to, Lisa, as Humler gets the kill, is still very much capable of doing something here at the top of the rankings.
Absolutely. They know that they are unproven. This is a quote from their coach, and that they have tons of potential. His big thing is, like, we know we can compete. We just have to be consistent. Keep it simple. It's a game to 25. If we have less errors at the end of the match versus them, then we come out the winner.
3rd time in Irvine history, by the way, that they've swept the conference awards. And that was Sakanda again. And he was hovering at another echelon.
You know what's a scary thought is that that's out of the backcourt. And his celebration, he's like in the zone right now. And his setter knows it, so he's feeding him as many balls as possible. 7 kills, hitting at .545 right now.
So 7 serving 6. Cam with the serve. Humler, money on the pass. Cowell up the ladder. And then Gassman just gobbles up the overpass on the dig by Sakanda, and a little chin music for the libero, A.J. Faley.
Well, that was called protection. I mean, put the helmet on, if you will. Patrick Gassman just imploded that ball. If he didn't touch it, it might have exploded. See what he does from the service line.
Some vicious ferocity from Patrick Gassman here in this match so far. Goes long on the serve. Maybe the adrenaline pumping a little much on that service attempt. He's got 3 kills on 3 swings, and they have all been explosive.
You can tell he's been working hard in the weight room. You can hear his attack and the approach on the ball.
Yeah, those had a different sound the times that he's been able to put a pounding on it as Cowell goes off the high hands. Outside set, Schneidmiller finds that deep corner. And Irvine up 2. Schneidmiller was a first-team All-Big West Conference selection last year, and that's despite missing 6 matches late in the year with an arm injury. Finished 3rd in the league in kills per set.
Honorable mention, All-American 2 times in a row. He's definitely been a core player for this team.
And that's an out serve. 9th service error here for Irvine.
Irvine, you can see, trying to move the ball around, trying to get Hawaii to have to move to take that first contact, get them out of system is what they're really trying to force Hawaii to do.
So here's Shuey. Outside Schneidmiller. Dug up by Worsley. That was pretty. Cowell tried to tool the block. Vorenkamp the touch. Sakanda keeps it alive. Does Vorenkamp get it over? Yes, he does. But easy pickings there for Patapunov. Great scramble by the Anteaters, but Rado was in the right spot and actually fell to the Terraflex somewhat awkwardly. A fearful moment, but everything seems to be okay.
You know, these players go so far back. They've played each other so often. They've got a lot of respect for one another across the net. They make sure each other's okay.
Back row set, and that's Cam. Goes wide with it.
Cam getting an opportunity to come down that pipe with a quick set, just not able to execute.
And Hawaii in front for the first time here in set number 2. They took set 1 25-22, led by 6 a couple of different times before Irvine made it interesting. Cut it to 1 23-22. And Irvine seems like they are poised to battle for the duration here in this second frame as Schneidmiller hammers that one.
Yeah, he bounced that ball right between the blockers. He can get going.
He's got 6 kills, still error-free, hitting .545. Sheward with the bump set, over the shoulder swing by Patapunov. He's blocked. Static says And that's already the 4th block for Scott Static in this match.
Scott Static is putting up a big block, and he sees that Rado continues to try to go on the inside of his right arm into what they call a sharp angle. But Static is now trying to force him to hit the line.
Another really impressive statistic for Scott Static is something that doesn't happen on the volleyball court. He was just a week ago named the UC Irvine Scholar Athlete of the Year. And it is the 2nd straight year that a UC Irvine men's volleyball player received that extremely high distinction. Dante Chakravorty, the former setter, was the UC Irvine Scholar Athlete a year ago. And talking to David Niffen, he's not sure if that's ever happened, that they've had from the same program, from the men's volleyball program specifically, in back-to-back years, the UCI Scholar Athlete.
What's amazing, it's not just on the court, it's the leadership. They're showing that they're very capable athletically, but also in the classroom.
Patapunov blocked and roofed. And that's Static again in the middle, getting a piece of it.
So Shuey going back to Rado behind him, and Rado getting a little under that ball, trying to power his way through. Not happening.
Schneidmiller on the outside pin may have gotten the gist of that one. And it is 12 serving 10. That one sneaks over the top of the tape. High ball bump set goes to Rado from the outside. And they're going to say that that hit the pin. And so an out ball on the swing by, or it goes off the block and into the pin. So that is a point for Hawaii. So off the block, out point, the kill given to Rado Patapunov. And the serve and point goes to Hawaii. 11 serving 12, much needed point there on the swing by Rado. Sakanda, that was a slam dunk.
And Hawaii's players are definitely feeling the same thing you just said. Like, what was that? Looks like he held it a little long and just pushed it down to the floor, and all of them raised their hands up.
Yeah, that one was in the palm for just a nanosecond longer than what felt comfortable, at least from the perspective of the Hawaii side. Here's Parapunov. Goes off the block and out again. So gets roofed a couple of times. Static, Schneidmiller, Sakanda looming large at the top of the tape, and you see the adjustment by Parapunov.
You definitely do, and it's interesting that Shui continues to go back to him, and I like that. But at the same time, I feel like maybe he should involve his middles so that they're not camping out on Rado on the outsides.
Sakanda, just a solo blocker up, but a great dig there by Schuard. Cowell sets up Parapunov, was tight to the net, and he just touches it out of play.
Parapunov lost the blockers in his vision, and he thought they were up, and he was actually trying to tool them, hit it into them, but there's nobody up, but JB Cam drops his hands last minute. Very smart play.
I mean, what an instinctive move there by the Punahou product. 3-time state champ for the Buff and Blue, and also starred on the basketball court as well. Gassman says, block that.
His connection in the middle has just really evolved through this season. Earlier in the season, the connection wasn't quite there. It wasn't as fluent.
Well, he's got 5 kills on 5 swings. He's batting 1,000. It is 13 serving 14. Here it comes from Rado. One-hand set Vorenkamp, two-handed over by Cam. So chance here for Hawaii. The set goes to nowhere, and now it's a free opportunity for Irvine. Here's Cam against the double block. Good dig there by Parapunov. Schuard, bump set to Humler. Gets a piece and gets the point. And we are tied for the 6th time here in set 2.
And Humler doing a fantastic job hitting high off of the hands. It doesn't go straight down. He sees the hands and he hits so high that the Irvine Anteaters cannot defend that ball.
Parapunov the serve, and it is a blazer. An ace for Rado. And Hawaii gets to 15 first in the second. It's been a little messy, but a 5-2 run for the Warriors. Welcome back. Let's check out the first Hawaiian Bank top 3. We're looking at Big West blocks per set, and the top 3 are all part of this match. Scott Static over 2 blocks per set. That is just crazy. Patrick Gassman, number 2 on the list, and Max Rosenfeld, reserve middle for Hawaii at 1.3 in the number 3 spot.
Speaking of blocks, I think that's been the biggest difference here. UC Irvine, only 3 blocks in game 1. They're up to 7 already.
So Hawaii has been playing from behind the majority of this second set. Got the lead prior to that media timeout, and the outserve by Parapunov. So the media timeout coming at a pretty good time for UC Irvine on that occasion.
They call that the, I don't know what they call that actually.
Sakanda into the twine.
Both teams, but when you come out of a timeout, whether it's media or one you call, the golden rule is keep the serve in.
That's 10 service errors now for Irvine. Hawaii is 6 on its side. And here is Humler. He's got one of the 2 service aces tonight for Hawaii. Make it 2 of the 3.
Humler doing a great job from the service line, keeping it in, putting pressure on Irvine.
Humler has been asked to step up in his role with this team. Played in 8 matches last year, and this season looking to fill the void left by one of the greats of all time, Stein von Tilburg. A little iffy on that setup there by the libero Faley. Cowell able to get it down for Hawaii. That's now a 6-1 run for the Warriors.
Hawaii doing some pretty spectacular things, really throwing Irvine off. You can just see they're discombobulated over here on the Irvine side. They're just scrambling, unsure. They've actually changed their serve receive to a 4-person serve receive now versus what they had earlier, a 3-person.
Yeah, I mean, Humler going behind the service line And he has changed the complexion a little bit here as we get into the later stages of this second frame. Into the net it goes, however.
Sometimes that little adjustment of changing how he sees what's across the court, what they just did with 4 serve receivers, really can get in a server's head.
So here's JB Cam. He's a sophomore. Teammate Davis Lau, we have yet to see. He's another libero on the roster. He also a Punahou alum. Gassman. That was some fire, but a great dig by Faley. And Irvine able to return it. Hawaii on the attack. Cowell up the ladder and down the chute it goes.
Cowell just does a spectacular job getting up and over the blockers for a deep cross-court kill.
I mean, we've got some leapers out there on the Terraflex tonight.
Seriously working hard in that weight room. That's his 7th kill on the evening. Hitting at about 188 right now, 16 attempts.
And the serve by Anastasiadis goes long. That is service error number 8 for Hawaii.
Anastasiadis is the player who has played in every single set this season. He's the only one on Hawaii's roster who's played in every single set.
And he's gotten some opportunities to start at outside hitter.
Definitely the ultimate team player.
Pass there by Worsley. Outside, Cowell again. Just elevating up over everybody.
You know, he sees the court so well. Not only does he elevate, he hangs up there for a little bit of time. Takes a little sneak peek and goes, okay, let me just put this there, here, there, wherever I want. I think a lot of that is not only weight room, but a lot of it is beach volleyball. He's played a lot of that, so he sees the court well.
Sakanda. Right back at you, he says. Sakanda now with 9 kills. Hawaii up by 2, but 18 serving 20, and it will be Patrick Hornkamp to serve.
Sakanda really carrying the load for his team so far in this match.
Into the net it goes. So it's not just the accumulation of service errors, Lisa. It's also the timeliness of them, or the untimeliness of them from Irvine's perspective.
Absolutely. Every time they just get a little close, there's errors made. I think it's definitely the timing on it.
How about that roll shot by Cowell? Now Schneidmiller with 3 blockers up, and they say, ah, ole.
Voss in the middle there, I think, got most of that. I'm not positive, but I'll tell you, 3 blockers up, and that's a huge block.
Timeout, Anteaters. Hawaii up by 4. Chad Cabral shares a delicious Honolulu chicken curry recipe on Cooking Hawaiian Style Monday night at a special time immediately following the live OIA Boys Basketball semifinal doubleheader on Spectrum OC16. 10-4 run for Hawaii. They lead by 4, their largest lead of this second frame. And Colton Cowell out of the timeout. Serves it wide.
Didn't we just talk about that rule? Really? Then the other coach thinks, oh, I just made a great timeout.
Yeah.
I forced that.
That's a little pat on the back there.
Right.
For the head coach who makes the call. Here's Schneidmiller. Always dangerous behind the service line. Handled well by Gage Worsley. Backside set goes to Rado. Cross court and wide. No touch up front. Point for Irvine.
You can see Rado talking through the net with Static. You know, they know each other, like I said earlier, and they have a lot of respect for one another. So guaranteed. Let's see where Shui goes with this set.
Popped straight up in the air by Humler. Set from Cowell goes to Phillip. And it is dug up over the net and out by Schneidmiller. So a point for Hawaii. And again, some required improv there with Colton Cowell taking on the setting responsibilities and just going straight high ball to Phillip Humler.
And Humler just doing, again, he's been hitting that ball all night. High, hands, and hard.
4 kills for Humler. Here's Voss, the float knuckler serve. Sakanda drives it long, no touch, point for Hawaii, and it is aloha ball for set number 2.
Sakanda going out swinging. That's only his 2nd air on the evening. He's been hitting spectacular for his team at 533.
So Voss serving for the 2nd frame. Outside set, it's Cam over the double block, dug up by Cowell. Shuey sets it up for Humler, the dink. Diving save Vorenkamp. Faley sets up Sakanda, block, hit roofed. Pat Gassman shuts the door. And Hawaii takes set number 2, 25-20, closing that 2nd stanza on a 13-6 run. And so in this championship of the Outrigger Invitational, the home team will have a chance to crack open the broom closet. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the McDonald's match statistics. Anything that stands out to you, Lisa?
Well, definitely. I think, obviously, the kill percentage, as we've highlighted for you folks at home, but the blocks. You see Irvine, 7 blocks, Hawaii with 5. Digs, nothing spectacular there, and very close on service aces and errors. Hawaii still pulling ahead offensively.
Well, part of the story, UC Irvine, this is what they do. They put on a block party often. The Akamai Roofing Report takes us through the 7 total team blocks for the Anteaters. 4 of those coming in set number 2. Now, it's not as though Hawaii's not throwing a block party on its side each and every night either. But Irvine does have the advantage at the moment in that department, and yet Hawaii's still able to overcome, and they take set number 1, 25-22, set number 2, 25-20, and an outserve by Irvine, which has also been part of the narrative here this evening, gives Hawaii the first point in set number 3. And Brett Sheward here with the serve. Middle set, and that's static into the twine. I think psychologically speaking, if you are this UC Irvine squad, you're thinking to yourself, that 2nd set, particularly the first half or first 2/3 of it, was about as much as we can throw at this Hawaii team. And for us to not have been able to finish that off, that's got to be discouraging.
Absolutely, and you know, in the locker room between those last 2 games, they talked a little bit about that and how just to play a little bit more consistently. You talked about it, Kanoa, the opportunity times when they miss their serves. Timing.
Timing on the block was perfect there. Guilherme Voss next to Colton Cowell. And we were going through the Akamai Roofing Report for UC Irvine. Hawaii now up to 6.5 total team blocks. And entering the week, these are the top 2 blocking teams in the country. Here's Schneidmiller. This time goes off the Voss forearm and down for Irvine's first point of set 3.
These are also some of the biggest players we'll see in the Big West and in the nation as well. We've got 7 feet, 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". They're big, but they're so talented. You have numerous 6 rotation players out here. Again, in men's volleyball, you only have 6 substitutions per set.
Here's Cowell. The block was late to form, and he made him pay. Colton Cowell now with 9 kills to lead the Warriors.
Colton Cowell attacking from the right front. Normally we see him on that right side, but on this play, attacking from that right front.
And here is Cowell now to serve. 4 serving 1 in the 3rd. Puts it right into that middle portion of the floor. And a great up there by Cowell. Coaches clear the bench area for Shuey to keep it alive. Irvine once again on the attack. Sakanda! A lightning rod.
And I'll tell you, Colton Cowell sitting in middle back on defense does the one-arm up ball. And exploding down on that ball. Sakanda, you gotta love the celebration.
Oh, he's all about it. Leading everybody with 10 kills now. Backside, it's Rado. And he just touches it over the top of that proposed block. and gets his 9th put down of the evening. And he points to his head, saying that's a thinker right there.
Patrick Gassman running in, pointing at his head, and they kind of mimicked each other. They mirrored one another. It's a smart play by Rado Parapunov. He's been gunning away all night. He finally took the dink.
Sakanda, hard angle, dug up by Rado. Pretty brilliantly done as well, and then Humler finishes the job. How about the defense by Rado?
Rado coming off, I mean, he is a true 6 rotation player. His defense has improved immensely throughout his 4 years. But how about Brett Schuard's bump side set on that last play? It's pretty efficient.
And it was all there. This early start to this 3rd set, about as sharp as Hawaii has been, I think, off the jump here tonight.
I agree. It's nice to see them coming out, putting a lot of pressure on Irvine.
And that one is bounced off the Terraflex by Sakanda. Just continues to hammer away.
He has been constantly pounding that ball down from that right side and constantly celebrating. You can hear the thunder in his ball when he hits that.
Parapunov through the block and down. And he's starting to groove here. He gets his 10th kill of the evening.
10 kills and 18 attempts. Good distribution here. Colton Cal has 19 attempts. Humler with 10.
Parapunov the serve. Sakanda the first touch. High ball goes to Cam over the triple block. Tried to avoid it. Didn't get a touch. And it's another point for Hawaii.
JD Cam trying to hit high off of the hands. Not getting the touch that he wishes he could get. He's really struggling offensively. Hitting -5, 5-6 right now.
So 8 serving 3. And an ace by Rado Parapunov. And that forces a UC Irvine timeout. Hawaii jumping way out here in the 3rd. It's the best of Spectrum OC16 with a new primetime lineup. Tune in starting at 7 p.m. each weeknight for different episodes of Cooking Hawaiian Style, Hawaii Skin Diver, Hawaii Goes Fishing, The Pet Hui, and Ultimate Japan. Exclusively on Spectrum OC16. Turning to live action and out of the timeout. That's going to be an in ball off the palm of Aiden Wolf-Nielsen, much to the chagrin of the fans. Hawaii had jumped out to a 9-3 advantage, forcing that Irvine timeout. Now remember, this is a non-conference affair. Even though these are 2 Big West Conference teams, it is a non-conference match. These 2 teams are scheduled to play once again, really to round out the regular season in April 17th and 18th. They'll do it again here on this floor. And the way things are looking in the very early stages of this season, it could come down to those 2 matches potentially for the Big West regular season championship.
Very easily. These 2 teams have always matched up very well. And this is a young UC Irvine team, the brand new setter, just trying to figure things out.
Yeah, that's a really good point. As you see the off-speeder by Schneidmiller. Here's Cowell, just springs straight up in the air. His approach had to get adjusted, and so that was just a standing vertical there, and he found the open floor.
There he says, I've got the magic touch. He's wiggling his fingers around like, how did that possibly happen?
11-4 Hawaii on top. But getting back to your point, Lisa, I mean, this is a young UC Irvine team. This is still very early on in the season, just the 12th match for Hawaii, 11th for Irvine. You're talking about these 2 teams meeting again in mid-April. They could look entirely different by then.
Very easily, and I bet you they will, because you know what? This setter is brand new in the setting position.
What an up by Humler. Cowell getting up. Dug up by Cam along that back line. Here's Schneidmiller, blocked by Gassman. And roofed.
And Patrick Gassman getting in on the celebration as well.
And another timeout by UCI. Hawaii leads by 8. Its largest lead of the match. Need tickets to an upcoming UH contest? Visit hawaiiathletics.com, call 944-BOWS, or visit the Stan Sheriff Center box office. 3 easy ways to get your seats for exciting UH sports action. Since it was 14-12 in favor of UC Irvine in set number 2, Hawaii has gone on a 25-10 run, Lisa, and they lead 12-4 here in the third.
They have definitely been in the driver's seat since then.
How about that bump set by Shui, and Cowell clobbers it.
Cowell bettering that ball, a tight set. He gets up, he elevates, and betters that ball because it was so tight, he really didn't have a lot he could do with it.
And then flexing, figuratively and literally, in that sequence.
Rado Parapunov jokes around that he wants to look and be just like Colton Cowell.
Sakanda putting it down. Yeah, to that I respond, get in line.
I'm sure he's taken a number already.
Sakanda having himself an evening here. 12 kills on 24 swings, hitting .375. Remember, this is a guy who is just a sophomore. Good pass there by Humler. But behind the head middle set to Gassman, he's blocked in roof. That's Static again.
And Gassman going for that back one, his only hitting error, going up against Static in the middle, the best blocker in the Big West and potentially in the nation.
So Static 6 blocks, I should say. Last night he had 5 blocks. That was the first time this season he has had fewer than 6 blocks in a match. And he was right next to Vorenkamp as they turn it back on Colton Cowell.
And this is the momentum changer. When teams start getting a couple of blocks in a row, it definitely changes and it shifts the momentum back to the side that has won the block.
And that's enough to make the crowd feel antsy. As they turn the volume knob up a bit. Middle set, Gassman goes off of Static and down. Those are some tall fellas meeting at the apex there. 6'10" Pat Gassman and 7-foot Scott Static.
They're lined up directly, almost directly across from one another as Patrick Gassman rotates into the backcourt.
Gassman 6 kills, hitting .625, and now back to serve. High ball goes to Schneidmiller, blocked back by Voss, and then placed down by Static.
Static playing big, smart, and strong at the net. He could have easily taken a swing, but decides just to place the ball down. Shows his experience being one of the seniors on the team.
Got some attendance numbers here. Tickets issued, 5,740 through the turnstile, a little over 4,800. So close to 5,000 strong as Cowell gets blocked and roofed again. And you got to think a pretty impressive turnout in terms of the crowd here, considering it's Punahou Carnival weekend. You got girls state soccer and basketball going on at the same time. Paddling also in effect. So there's a lot of activity out there. And the Stan Sheriff Center is still a place to be. Here's Rado. Oh my word.
Drills the ball down, almost takes out the libero.
A blistering way to end a UC Irvine 5-1 run as Parapunov goes full Hulk smash on that. Knocks Faley to his wallet.
Do you think that hurt?
It couldn't have felt good.
Serious heat on that ball.
Parapunov and Cowell, their numbers pretty similar. 11 kills each, 6 hitting errors each. Cowell hitting .208, Parapunov hitting .263. But Pat Gassman has been kind of the workhorse here in a number of different facets. Offensively, 6 kills, hitting .625, a couple of blocks, 3 digs, and he's done a decent job with the service line as well.
He has, and he's always wanted to be in that backcourt. Pretty funny, earlier tonight he served and he was playing middle back defense. He had some spectacular digs, but he was also calling for the pipe. He wanted to hit out of the backcourt.
Well, let's check in with Ryan. What's up?
What's going on? Well, here on the UC Irvine sideline, really they're just trying to get their team to play 1 point at a time. They realize the deficit, and they're just trying to make it up with a side out, a few points, and just keep sliding out. On the Hawaii sideline, Colton Cowell really showing the senior leadership, taking the team, saying, hey, we have got to keep going, keep pushing, really helping to motivate his team. Back over to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Hawaii has won the last 4 meetings between these two programs, and I think what is starting to become a potential storyline here tonight, and what makes, I think, this performance all the more remarkable, Hawaii is up 15-9 in the third. They're up 2-0, and this has not been one of the more crisply played matches on the part of Hawaii this season.
Well, definitely not, but it's also, look at the opponent. I mean, they're putting up a much bigger block than Hawaii has seen, that we've seen here in the Stan Sheriff. We don't know for sure on the road trip what it was, but this is also the number 4 ranked team in the nation right now.
That one is hammered home by Sakanda.
Sakanda making that look so easy and smooth. Took a little something off of it, hitting from the left front this time. 13 kills, hitting at 400 right now.
These two programs very familiar with one another. A lot of connections between UC Irvine and Hawaii as Colton Cowell delivers for his 12th kill. I mean, we talked about the 2 Punahou alums on their roster, but Mark Presho, longtime assistant, in fact, in his 15th season with the program, former University of Hawaii volleyball All-American, still up near the top in the career kills category. And it's just a shame that he has let himself go physically so much since his playing days.
I don't think he's aged a day since he left here.
I know. As Cowell tickles the tape and gets the ace. Just how you draw it up.
Some good genes, I think. And he's actually number 2 in the all-time kills. That's right. In the record books here in Hawaii.
Yeah, talking about Mark Presho. Yeah, Costas Theoharides in the top spot, but yeah, Mark Presho, what's he, Ponce de Leon? My goodness.
And he produced, you know, his son plays at Stanford. I believe he's a junior there, so he's got some talented children as well.
Look at Humler going on the other side to try to save it, but he brought it back inside the antenna. If he was able to bring it back outside the antenna, that could have been a play on.
That's a real confusing play to most people watching here and there and everywhere. You know, you wonder, what are they doing running under the net? How is that not a violation? And it has to go where? It has to go outside of the antenna and then cross the plane of the net on the 3rd contact.
By the way, you mentioned Stanford. How about Stanford getting a huge win, a sweep win over number 7 UCLA tonight? And this is a Stanford team that's just been hampered with injury. So they get a biggie as they celebrate the 10-year anniversary of their national championship squad. How about the roof? Rainbow Roofers reporting for work. Rado next to Voss.
The blocking scheme has turned it up a notch. Back to Stanford. Hawaii's next road trip will be against Stanford, up at Stanford.
That's right, February 14th and 15th. And a Stanford team that will no doubt be feeling pretty good about itself, despite some of the adversity that they've had to face. 18 serving 11. Here's Anastasiadis. Back row set, Schneidmiller. It goes long. They're going to say no touch up front. And that's a point for Hawaii. No timeouts left for David Niffen. The only thing he can do to try to pause play would be to challenge a call or something.
Absolutely. And you know, have you ever done where they try to slow a game down and use a challenge?
Yeah, only every single night, I think.
When it's available.
Oh, a nice rip that time by J.B. Cam.
J.B. Cam getting a one-on-one opportunity, a perfect set to him on the outside. I'm sure it's probably a thrill for him to be playing here in the Stan Sheriff, something that he's watched his entire life growing up here in the islands.
And now we have Davis Lau making his first appearance. The other libero, along with A.J. Faley, 5'7" freshman out of Punahou. One-hand set. How about that? Shui to Patapunov, and it is all clicking right now for these Rainbow Warriors.
I'd have to say that was the set of the night, the one-handed jump rescue set. And setting a left-handed person with one hand, you got to know exactly where you are.
A one-handed, tight to the net, back set to Patapunov.
Can we get this in slow motion, please? How's that?
We saw Joe Worsley pull off a few of those in his Hawaii days. Joe, I am sure, watching from Germany, where he's now playing professionally.
I think it's Spain. I'm not positive. But I know his dad's here in town. I bet you Joe is watching. I know he is watching the Super Bowl.
That'll be a point for UC Irvine.
Joe Montana. Irvine's still in it. Let's see what they can pull off here from the back court.
Cam coming with it into the twine. Somewhat fitting. Service error number 14 for Irvine, and many of them have come at times where it has stung a little more.
It seems like when they get to 20, there's a little bit more pressure. When Hawaii's gotten to 20, UCI from the back court has not been as efficient from the service line.
There's Humler. He's been pretty efficient from the service line. Set goes to Sakanda, played off the net by Gassman. But Demetrios Muklias sends it wide. It was a great first touch there and saved by Tella. Then Gassman playing it off of the twine. But it results in an Irvine point. So next up for Hawaii, as you mentioned, going to Stanford next week. For Irvine, they get into Big West Conference play. They'll take on UC San Diego on the 15th. So a pretty expansive schedule layout here that has come with some of the difficulty after the MPSF split up and the establishment of the Big West Conference. Sort of shrunk the conference season for all of the teams on each side, and it has made for a few more holes in the schedule.
Definitely more holes, and we're seeing that's why this tournament is being played so early.
Good job there by Vorenkamp, and how about Davis Lau already making an impact.
Davis Lau's sister Julia played at Dartmouth, and his dad played at UC Santa Barbara, so he's got some genetic volleyball genes as well. Lots of beach volleyball.
Pass there by Worsley. Backside, Muklias through the block and down. I mean, how good is this young freshman projected to be? I mean, we were already seeing just a cool demeanor out there on the floor. His scoring ability is undeniable, and he's just getting started.
You know, he's just so smooth. He's very calm through it all, sets the ball, comes in at opportune times, at tight times as well. We saw in the last game, he blocked for game point. Came in literally at game point, and it was a tight match.
His international experience with the Greek national team. Here's Sakanda. Blocked out a piece. So Rado sets up Cowell, the dink. Snipped out by Sakanda, tight to the net. And Rado gets a swing out of it. And they're going to call a violation against Vorenkamp anyway for being a back row attacker. So either way you slice it, point for Hawaii. And close to 5,000 now rise at the Stan Sheriff Center. Hawaii serving for the Outrigger Invitational title. And they'll have to wait a breath longer. Schneidmiller the serve. It is still Aloha ball for the match. Cowell off the block and roofed. You see Irvine not ready to pack it in. But they have a mountain to climb here. Still trailing 17, serving 24.
Definitely a mountain to climb. The pressure's all on Irvine right now.
Aloha ball for the third time. First touch there, Humler. Here's Cowell, 2 blockers up. He goes long. Was there a touch? No touch is called. And Colton Cowell looks back at Charlie Wade and says, hey, let's challenge this. And Charlie will once again oblige. And so we will either play on or we will have one of the more anticlimactic conclusions to this match.
And Colton Cowell turned around immediately and said, there was definitely a touch. And sometimes you just hear it. You hear the tip of it coming off their fingers. And you got to, again, give a lot of credit to Charlie Wade for allowing his player to say, there definitely was a touch.
These are always the toughest to see, though, at least in this version of the replay challenges. And we've become very popular over here at our station because you have all the coaches and players looking at us, trying to see what our reaction is to the replay, trying to catch a peek of the replay and the monitors themselves.
Very difficult to see if there's a touch on this play. And like you said, Kanoa, it would be very anticlimactic if there was a touch and that was the end of the match.
It always comes down to the question, is there enough there to overturn the call in the eyes of Ernie Ho?
And you see Irvine going back on the court like, we got this, guys, in Hawaii, standing over here in a group, a huggy little group, hanging on, wondering what the call is going to be.
Well, no touch remains the call. And so this is Aloha ball number 4 here. Charlie Wade disagrees.
They've created enough distance where really it doesn't matter.
Now the crowd doing the wave here as Schneidmiller gets ready to serve. It is still match point. Pass Humler. Can they finish it this time? Cowell sends it deep. Diving save Schneidmiller. Punched up by Lau, and a free chance here for the Warriors. Shuey, quick middle. Voss blocked in a roof. Static saying no, not yet.
You got to give Irvine some serious credit, man. They are not going away.
They're not making it easy here in these late moments. They're within 5. Aloha ball number 5. Pass by Worsley. Short backside. Here's Cowell blocked and roofed. Cam and Static. And Irvine cuts it down to 4. And Charlie Wade will signal for a timeout. This last point, pesky, stingy. And the crowd continues to wait.
You got to give Shuey a lot of credit. He has went back to Colton Cowell. I believe that's 4 balls in a row.
A 5-0 Anteater run.
And what's gotten them here? Their block.
Scott Static now 11 blocks, to your point, Lisa, on the evening.
Absolutely. And, you know, Schneidmiller on the back line having to keep this serve in these last 6 points. It's pretty amazing. He's done it, and they've just chiseled their way closer and closer to Hawaii.
You made the Super Bowl football reference, and oftentimes, whether it's yourself, whether it's C-Mac, Chris McLaughlin sitting here, we have likened the last few points in any given set to just getting those last few yards short of the goal line to punch it in for a touchdown. And this all-elusive Aloha ball point for Hawaii has started to create a little bit of anxiety here in the Stan Sheriff Center.
And, you know, thank goodness that they created that huge separation earlier. Can you imagine had they not?
And so the crowd, many of whom taking the timeout as an opportunity to rest the legs a little bit, they once again stand in unison. It will be Aloha ball number 6. Hawaii's still leading by 4, by the way. Schneidmiller has to get it in. He does. Diving pass Worsley. Outside, Rado, the dink. Gets it down. And Hawaii wins it. Ekahi Elua Aloha to claim the 10th Outrigger Invitational title for this Rainbow Warrior program. 25-22, 25-20, and 25-20, the final arithmetic. Rado Potapunov finishes the match with his 14th kill. Anteaters, as they did in set 1, making it a little more interesting than what it initially felt like in that third frame. But ultimately, it's Hawaii improving to 12-0 on the season. And they pull off the Outrigger Invitational Championship by way of 3 consecutive sweeps. Bank of Hawaii presents the players of the match. Let's take a look. For UC Irvine, Alexander Seconda was spectacular. 15 kills, hit 400, 5 blocks, 4 digs, an ace. And Potapunov, we mentioned, 14 kills, hit 364, 4 blocks, 6 digs, and 2 aces. A little honorable mention for sure. Colton Cowell had 12 put-downs. Pat Gassman, 6 kills, hit 625. On the other side for UC Irvine, an 11-block effort for the 7-footer in the middle, Scott Static.
Yeah, you know, Irvine did a fabulous job tonight. I think they came and they played their hearts out.
And so the awards to be passed out, the trophy to be handed out, as the Rainbow Warriors claim the victory over UC Irvine. They'll meet again in this building in mid-April for matches that will, I guess you'll say they'll count even more. They will be Big West Conference matches, and it could, for all intents and purposes, come down to these 2 teams in the Big West regular season when those matches take place.
And it will be senior night when they come down, and then Hawaii jumps on a plane and heads back up to the Bren Center at UC Irvine for the Big West Conference playoffs.
Well, these are 2 programs with a great amount of respect for one another, 2 head coaches with a great affinity for one another. And now Charlie Wade is with our Scott Robbs.
Coach, congratulations. Another Outrigger championship over a really good team in UCI.
Yeah, they are. They got a lot of good players. Obviously, the opposite played really good tonight, and I just thought we were a little tight. You know, just not as efficient as we'd like to be. You know, we made 12 errors each in the first set, and we're usually better than that. But Irvine's a good team and put a lot of pressure on us.
How'd you think Schuer did at the center position for you?
I'd give him just okay tonight. You know, he's been a lot better, but again, it was kind of a different vibe. It's the first time that this group has been here, you know, in front of a big crowd against a quality opponent. So I think we got better as the match went on, and that's important.
Up next, Stanford heard Kanoa saying they just beat UCLA. Another tough opponent for you on the road.
Yeah, another great challenge for us, you know. So we're back to work on Monday and hopefully come home with some wins.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Aloha.
Kanoa, Lisa, back to you guys.
I mean, I think Charlie Wade sort of, he's able to encapsulate it, I think, in a pretty good way, where this wasn't Hawaii's A game, Lisa, and yet they were able to sweep the number 4 team in the country in UC Irvine.
Well, that's what they're going to constantly be looking for. They're going to be constantly looking to be more efficient from all areas on the court, whether it's from the service line or finishing up the deal. At the very end of that last set there, you could see Hawaii struggling, making some unforced errors, if you will, and allowing Irvine back into the match.
All right, well, don't forget about the post-game show, as Rado Potapunov making one of the younger fans' evenings even more thrilling. Hawaii wins in 3 over UC Irvine. All right, Lisa, you got to sprint it back over to the corner. For Lisa Strand-Ma'a, I'm Kanoa Leahy. Until next time, aloha from the Stan Sheriff Center.
Highlights Hawaii UCI. We start off with the Rainbow Warriors. Colton Cowell put down a dozen kills on the night. The Makawao native also added a service ace and a block. How about on the other side of the net? Alexander Seconda was really good. 15 big kills to lead the Anteater attack. Hit an average of 400 on the night. He also was in on, talking about blocking, they dominated at the net, that being UC Irvine, as they outblocked Hawaii 13 to 8.5. 11 of those blocks by the nation's leader, Scott Static. The 7-footer out of Wisconsin was a mountain at the net for the Anteaters. But UH had Rado Potapunov, the Bulgarian, again, with an outstanding even 14 kills to pace the Hawaii attack. 364 hitting average. You also had a couple of service aces, 6 digs to lead Hawaii in that category, 4 blocks, and Hawaii wins the Outrigger over number 4 UC Irvine in straight sets.
This is the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. It is the post-game show. Scott, the Iron Woman, Lisa, and Ryan. And you heard Charlie talking about the fact that he thought they were okay tonight. You'll take okay if you can win in 3 against a 4th-ranked team, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there were moments where Hawaii, obviously if they were going up against maybe a tougher team, they would be in trouble, but Hawaii had built a cushion, and especially at the end there. So there are some moments where I think Charlie Wade was not pleased with his team, but still, if this is kind of a performance and you still beat a number 4 team in 3 sets, it says a lot about this team.
I think one of the biggest differences was you had Shuey in there. First time in the stand, Sheriff running with the 5,000 crowd and running that offense. I thought he did a great job, but I thought his set selection at the very end of the match got a little too predictable.
I would have also liked to have seen the middles get more offensive. I thought that was one thing Hawaii did really well a year ago, and it really opens up the pin hitters when you can get a Gassman, a Voss, at least a couple of more sets and a couple of more kills.
Well, again, when you go home and you watch that video, you'll learn from it, and I think he did a fabulous job getting the players distributing the ball, but I like getting the middles involved a little bit more.
I think, it also goes against the personnel that you're playing against. I think maybe Hawaii on another night would traditionally go to the middles more often, but when you have a 7-footer on the other side of the net, you have to play strategic. You don't necessarily have to go to the middle. You make them move more to the pins. He's a great blocker. Static is a great blocker when he's playing straight up. He doesn't have to necessarily move as much if they're setting the middle. So I think Hawaii's strategy in this case was to go more to the pins, make their middles work, and not necessarily have to rely on the middles as much as they normally would.
All right, let's take a look at the final numbers, statistics from this one, brought to you by Levitt, Yamani, and Soldner, guys.
Well, the hitting percentage by Hawaii was pretty lofty up at one point, but again, towards the end there, Hawaii making some unforced errors and bringing that hitting percentage down, still hitting for a very respectable 276. Hawaii getting outblocked 13-8, but Hawaii's defense, again, 23 digs and 5 aces. Hawaii really pulling out a great all-around performance.
We talked about an intermission. We talked about a game on Hawaii getting pushed. We wanted to see it tonight. We wanted to see how they react. They were pushed more than a couple of times, particularly towards the end of that final set, but it seems like this team realizes that there's no reason to panic. They just took care of business when needed.
Well, definitely. I think they're a very confident team. They know, especially here in the stand, Sheriff, what they're capable of, and they proved that. But I think the scariest part was actually in set 2, when Irvine was really out in front most of the match, and then Hawaii came back and took it away. That showed a lot of character.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that will help this team again is the fact that they were down, they were able to come back. It kind of just helps build overall confidence with them. And then they're just, again, getting used to each other, a new setter in there, learning different things. And we also saw Hawaii going to that 6-2 offense in the end part of both the first and third sets, where they brought in Tella to set and run that offense, and they brought Mukias into the front row. So Hawaii trying a bunch of different types of looks in order to keep this offense growing as the season goes along.
Hawaii, the number 1 team in the country, will remain the number 1 team in the country, and they also remain unbeaten after the sweep of UC Irvine and another Outrigger Invitational Championship.
Welcome back to the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
Well, the grounds crew is going to have to pick up the Terraflex. There's an event going on in here tomorrow night. All right, this was a Big West matchup that did not count in the standings, the conference season a bit later, but want to give you kind of an idea how everybody's doing now. Granted, 4 of the top 5 teams in the Big West are ranked in the top 5, but there you see Hawaii with the unbeaten record. Long Beach State saw their long home winning streak snapped a week ago by UCLA. UC Santa Barbara 8-2. UC San Diego maybe a bit of a surprise at 10-3. Irvine 7-3, and CSUN struggling this year at 2-9. I think there is no question, at least again this year, that the Big West is the toughest conference in the country.
There's definitely no question. With only 6 teams and the opponents they are tough and they continue to be tough. Men's volleyball has continued to evolve, and I think that's really the biggest change, is that the sport's gotten more and more popular, and players are, it shows on Hawaii's squad. You got 21 players on their roster. It's grown.
And I think, again, like you said, San Diego, really a sleeper, just coming out of nowhere. A lot of people, they have a lot of talent returning, but again, a team that traditionally is at the bottom of the conference. You saw they're having a great season, so really no off nights for Hawaii in the conference, as every team will challenge them, and it's matches like these and the others that they had on the road that will continue to push them and help prepare them, because the Big West Conference Tournament will be a battle to see who will win that overall title.
And Hawaii next week back on the road for a non-conference matchup with former MPSF member Stanford. And, the Cardinal may not be what they were once before, but they're still Stanford with a lot of talent, and they will be tested again next weekend.
They're going to continue to be tested, because after that is BYU, and BYU is ranked number 2. BYU here is great. BYU there, not so great. They're coming here.
And regardless, Stanford, kind of having some difficulties with their lineup and some injuries, but they will always be a challenge, and it's a tough environment to play in at times. So Hawaii will have that opportunity to go there, to play in Palo Alto and really prove themselves again. I think anytime that they go on the road and they're able to beat a quality opponent, it just sort of solidifies just how good and how deserving they are of this #1 ranking.
Believe it or not, Hawaii's only dropped 2 sets all season. They win in 3 tonight over number 4 UCI, captured the Outrigger Invitational Championship. Stick around. One of the guys that helped them will join us in the corner.
Welcome back to the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
Hawaii winners in 3 tonight. Champions of the Outrigger Invitational. Our special guest joining us, Gage Worsley, 15 receptions without an error, 3 digs. He actually got outdug tonight by Rado Parapunov, who had 6.
He let me know too. I remember when I came off the floor over there, he's like, Gage, more digs. I was like, all right, you got me.
Named to the all-tournament team, also the top libero in the country. Congratulations. And what was the feeling heading into tonight? Because you had a lot of matches in this arena this year, but nobody the quality of the Anteaters, at least till yet.
I mean, yeah, it helps that we've had a lot of big matches here throughout the years that I've been here. So, the guys are stoked to just kind of have like a really good opponent. Not that the opponents that we didn't play weren't as talented, but the guys are just ready to go, and I think it showed tonight. I think everyone balled out tonight. Yeah.
I think one of the things that we've really seen you do is claim more of a leadership role as the season has come along, and really taking charge of the backcourt especially. How has that role for you sort of changed this into your 3rd season now?
I think it's the same. Colton makes it a lot easier, and Philip is becoming an insane passer. So I think having those 2 back there make it super, super easy. Milan got on me after the first set. I was kind of lackadaisical on taking control, and he's like, Gage, we need you. I was like, all right, I'll step up. So I tried to do my best. Hopefully I succeeded in that category.
So we always want it to be going forwards, but I have to go backwards just a little bit. How hard is it not having your brother here?
I remember at first it was different, I could get away with some passes. But we have a tremendous setter in Brett Stewart and Jacob Tella. They're very, very opposite setters. Brett's more the defense, like the smaller setter, so it's more playing with Joe. Jakob completely different. I can maybe put him a little tighter, and he can save me in some circumstances. So there's pros and cons with each. But you definitely miss him, Definitely miss him for sure.
I just want to let you know that your brother Joe got a chance tonight to watch via the internet
I heard,
Germany.
Yeah, he texted me.
They're about 12 hours ahead of us, so 7 a.m. wake-up call on
Joe.
a Sunday morning over in beautiful Deutschland. And do you have a word to say maybe for your brother?
Hey, Joe. Just want to say what's up. He has an ab injury right now, so I hope you do that. Eat a lot of, what are they called? What are those sauces? Bratwurst, a lot of all of that stuff. I do miss you, but I'm more relaxed at home, not getting yelled at all the time, so that's kind of nice. And just want to say what's up. Thanks for tuning in today.
Yeah, Joe tearing up in the Bundesliga.
Yep.
Over there in Germany.
The Bundesliga.
So as you guys head up to Stanford, kind of your home country, are you looking forward to that?
I'm so stoked for that. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I grew up ball shagging in those gyms and stuff, and then when I was in high school, I go watch those teams play. And we're playing in both gyms, and I always wanted to play in both gyms. So now that I get to do that, I'm just like, yes, like every other night. And a lot of people from the club are going to come, so I'm super, super stoked. And I better not suck in front of them. That'd be a little embarrassing. So I'll try and show out, try and get the dubs.
Was Stanford ever a school you considered going to?
Oh, no. I have a fun story about that, actually. They were recruiting me, and I was like, they're like, yeah, okay, just send your transcripts. I'm like, I'm not getting into the school. I can promise you that. I promise you I'm not getting into the school. They're like, no, just send anyway. I send them, no response. I'm like, all right, see you guys out there.
I got the memo.
Oh, yeah, I got it real quick. I was like, okay.
I told you what I tried to tell you. You know, one of the things that I've been wondering, you look at the way that this season is kind of panning out. Again, two teams kind of moving up to the top. Last year was Hawaii and Long Beach. This year, Hawaii and BYU. Yeah. How much do you guys pay attention to the other teams throughout the country? Are you looking at scores? Do you guys watch anything on the other teams? Like how much attention are you paying to those other teams?
We pay attention to every single. Obviously, the teams that we're playing, we'll pay attention more. If we're in the locker room before a game, luckily we have the time change. There's a lot of games going on, so we'll just put a game on. Just kind of watch it, tune in, keep in check, but mainly focus on ourselves for sure. But if there's a game on and we're available, we're definitely gonna tune in.
All right, last question. Okay. I don't mean to bring up some bad memories, but a week ago, the Super Bowl. We know that your family is a diehard 49er family. Yeah. What was last Sunday like? How hard was it? Was it really hard?
All right, let me tell you something about my team here. If they know that they wouldn't do this with Joe, especially Rattle. Let me explain why Rattle wouldn't do this with Joe. He decided, doesn't matter if he's wrong, because me and Joe would butt heads sometimes in the locker room, and no matter how wrong Joe was, Rattle would take his side no matter what, because he wanted to get set. That's the main reason. So no one went against, rarely that people went against Joe. Oh, but me, I had to pass for him. They're like, yeah, whatever. But everyone's going against me. Everyone just like in my face. James, Ratto, and I was like, oh my God. I was just getting from all over. I was like, oh God. I was so mad after that game. I couldn't even talk. I was like, I just need to lie in my bed here and just, oh God. It was bad. It was really bad.
Did you cry?
It came close. I shed a few tears. Maybe it was the onions. I don't even know in the room. You know, dust in the room. I don't even know.
Well, if it's any consolation for those of us whose teams weren't a part of it, it was a thoroughly entertaining game, I'll tell you that.
It was nice seeing Patrick Mahomes march down that field and Jimmy G not answering. That was phenomenal. Just great football for 49ers fans.
Engage. Keep up the good work. Outstanding night again. Congratulations on the all-tournament team, and we'll see you guys when you get back from Stanford.
Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, that'll wrap things up for us here tonight. Another win for Hawaii, another Outrigger title. Special thanks, as always, to our outstanding Spectrum Sports crew. For Gage, for Ryan, for the Iron Woman, Lisa, I'm Scott. Until next time, we bid you aloha and a good evening from the Stan Sheriff Center in Manoa.